So Bishop with the $5 super chat. DCC, can you explain what it means to DCA to psychological levels? I think I've heard you mention this. Yeah, of course. Yeah, let me show you. Let me pull up Coin Market Cap or Coin Market Nomics. Yeah, let's go to nomics. Right. So it depends. So the psychological levels there's some basic psychological levels, right? I'm gonna put your super chat down for 1 second. So for in terms of psychological levels, it means basically the big round numbers, though. The way I usually like to dollar cost average, I like to dollar cost average on odd numbers. So there's these big psychological numbers. So on BTC would be 40,000, 30,000, 20,000, 10,000, these big numbers, right? And then you have numbers just a little bit above or below it, right? So depending on how you like, so personally, I don't like to miss the level. So I don't mind like buying at 31. So let's just say I was trying to DCA down. I'd be like, oh, I'll buy at 31,000. And then it's like, oh, it crashes down to 27 or 29. And then you can buy again, right? But basically it's basically depending, let's just say this was a $3 coin and it went to $3. You can buy at $3.10 or $2.90, right? But I always like to buy a little bit above it and a bit below it and stuff like that in between, just so I don't miss it. But on something like, so every coin operates a lot differently, just depending. You have to kind of learn its levels and stuff. And so those are the main psychological, those are the unit bias numbers. And then you have something like the support levels, which is like other psychological levels. So for BTC, right, like one big psychological support level is $20,000. It's like $19,000 and some change for BTC because it was its last all-time high, right, from the last bull market. So if we got to crash back down, 20,000 would be a really tough number for it to crash below it. It would take a lot for it to crash below 20,000. But if you get something like a Mt. Gox trustee, might be but usually on these levels are really important. Now, a secondary level for BTC is 27,000, 28,000. These are so once we passed the $20,000 all-time high, we kind of rocketed up and we were kind of chilling at that $28,000 for quite a while. And the market was like, I don't know, are we gonna go in? Or like, it was like early 2020 when this was happening, and it was like before the summer. And we're like, is it gonna go? Is it gonna go? And then it ramped up to 30,000. So we're like, oh fuck, we're in it, bro. And then we're like, it's full on bull market, bitches. And these are the psychological levels, right? Psychological levels for Ethereum, right? Its last all-time high from the last bull cycle was $1,400, right? For this one, let me try. I can't remember. It might be like, I think it's almost $5,000 for Ethereum, right? So in the future, one day in the future, when Ethereum is maybe like $25,000, $15,000, one big major support psychological level would be $5,000, basically, right? And then also one day if we pass $5,000 and like maybe we're $8,000 for a while, and then eventually it gets to 15,000, then 8,000 will be a big psychological level as well. So there's these psychological levels which are like kind of like the round numbers, and then there's also like these key psychological level, like it's more like unit bias psychological levels that are like the old support of like where the price kind of chilled out for a long time. And then the reason it's such a strong level is because when the price stays around that level for a long time, you buy it. There's a lot of people that have confidence in buying at that price. And then it becomes support later on when the price crashes down, because people who have bought at that level are like, I bought it at that level, I'll buy again. And then people are willing to buy it again because they feel like it's a second chance. So that's kind of what I mean by psychological levels. So if we look at like something like the price of Hex, like what I did for my DCAing is of course I always like when Hex hit 56 cents, right, for its all-time high. I personally sold some at, I sold some at 41, 43 cents and no, I'm sorry. I sold some at 41 cents, 48 cents and 53 cents for the Hex price. And I bought back at 18 cents, 13 cents, and 11 cents. Those are so I sold 3 times, I bought 3 times. And basically I waited until Hex basically corrected, 75, 80%. And when we were at the 22-cent mark, I was very tempted to wait, but I said, like, if it cracks below 20, I'll start buying. And then it hit 18 cents for the first time, and that's where I really bought heavily. And then I bought more at 13, a little bit less at 13 cents, and I bought very heavy at 11 cents. So that's what I mean when you can sort of pick these sort of levels. I was gonna purchase again at 9 cents. If we crack below 9, I just didn't catch it personally. So I'm just being honest about that. But I would have bought at 9 cents. So that's kind of like, you can play it the way you want to play it, but basically you have to have sort of a game plan and just say, if it hits these levels, I'm buying. So you kind of make your tables like, if it hits this, I'll buy this much, this much, this much, and you essentially have a plan. It can be a really rough plan, but have a plan. And that's what I mean by dollar cost averaging. So sorry, that may have been the longest explanation ever, but yeah.